Whew. So here we go again. This spiritual gumbo is going to be called spiritual gumbo. If there be one righteous person. I think you guys know where this is going because that last one is a prelude to Sodom and Gomorrah. And I try not to give too much away. Anyway, that was my neighbor, my little dog wagging his little tail on the door. I had to catch myself for a second from becoming possibly hostile or angry. Thank you for your patience with me. However, I didn't want to give away the Sodom and Gomorrah thing that was going to come and possibly be a spoiler for everything. But now you have to really listen to what's going on because remember, 3 men came, right? Right? But one of these men is the Lord, whom Abraham likens to God. Right. Well, let's just keep it pushing. Verse 16 of chapter 18. And the men, having risen up from thence, looked towards Sodom and Gomorrah. And Abraham went with them, attending them on their journey. And the Lord said, Shall I hide from Abraham, my servant, what things I intend to do? So he's like, I can't keep it from you, bro. I got to tell you what I'm up to. You know what I'm saying? But Abraham shall become a great and populous nation, and in him shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. For I know that he will order his sons and his house after him, and they will keep the ways of the Lord, to do justice and judgment, that the Lord may bring upon Abraham all things whatsoever he has spoken to him. And the Lord said, The cry of Sodom and Gomorrah has been increased towards me, and their sins are very great. I will therefore go down and see if they completely correspond, there's a word there, or have done altogether, one moment, let me find myself, with the cry which comes to me. And if not, that I may know. So pretty much he's saying that I have to see that if this is all together or if it corresponds with what I've been hearing, right? The prayers, I'm assuming. Can you dig it? There's no telling who the 2 angels actually were with him. They could have been, if this is the Lord, I'm assuming it's not 2 scrub poop booty angels that could be doing anything in the heavens. And I'm not calling any angels poop booty, but I'm just, understand. There's levels. Respect the game. There's not 2 scrub angels rolling around with the Messiah. Verse 22. And the men having departed came to Sodom, and Abraham was still standing before the Lord. Okay, there we go. Ever furthermore evidence is what I said the last time. These 2 dudes are down, they're down in there. They're in the city right now. Okay, they're about to do something. The Lord, same character who was considered just he, and just one of men, one of 3 men. Understand this. This is why you know that Moses, a man, wrote it, and he was told by something else about the instance, and whoever was telling him has to be this great figure to be able to minimize or antiquate in certain instances the level of power and authority that the Messiah has. So the Messiah himself is antiquating his own authority, calling himself he, as he's just a regular dude, because he knows that he's not the one. So he's not just any other he though. Right on? He's like, I'm the Lord, and to a lot of these guys, I'm God. So there's the mentality to it. Beyond the mentality though, there's the You see how they became separated from everybody? How it's just Abraham and it's just the Lord right now? And listen to what is about to happen. And the men, having departed thence, came to Sodom. And Abraham was still standing before the Lord. Verse 23. And Abraham drew nigh and said, wouldest thou destroy the righteous with the wicked? And shall the righteous be as the wicked? Pretty much saying like, you would kill the good with the bad, and it doesn't matter. Now I want you guys to think about the wheat and the tare. See, it's deep, ain't it? It's bigger than that. It's bigger than just the righteous and the wicked. You would destroy the wheat with the tare? Come on. Anyway. And for anybody who wants to challenge that, go ahead and challenge that. But I bet you Abraham knew he came from Adam. And somebody who didn't. Look, anyway, there's already wicked people who are from the people. It doesn't make it any better that you have people who are not the people who want to be wicked with these people. Right. Right. You take them even further from where they're supposed to be. So, not a help but a hindrance, a trap and a snare, as they would say. Once again, people don't understand how it physically, like, it plays out in a physical, humane manner, you know. But the ability to see them as what they are, the trap and the snare, any person that'll bring you down, on purpose, with wickedness, has to be looked at like that. And Abraham, I can't stress this enough, because if you believe yourself to be any kind of righteous, I know you don't want to die with the wicked. Thank you very much. But we don't have that choice. In this end, it's going to be like that. And all they can hope is that they achieve eternal salvation, you know, or resurrection, whichever one comes first, or both. Carrying on. (24) Should there be 50 righteous in the city, wilt thou destroy them? Wilt thou not spare the whole place for the sake of the 50 righteous, if they be in it? By no means shalt thou do this thing by no means shalt thou do as this thing is so to destroy the righteous with the wicked. So the righteous shall be as the wicked. By no means. That thou judgest the whole earth, thou that judgest the whole earth, shalt thou not do right? Listen, did you hear that? He told him he's the one who judges the whole earth. Listen. Understand what's going on here. He knows he's dealing with the Messiah. This is deep. Come on. Now do you understand why I said these aren't two anybody angels, okay? Working one of the stations for the sun or the moon, you know what I'm talking about? Like the book of Enoch would tell us that there's an angel for every station. It's not one of those guys, or gals, or whoever. It's not one of them. It's somebody who's on high, like Raphael, you know, Remiel, Michael, Gabriel type stuff. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, let me go ahead and keep it pushing. I love it. In the middle of it, verse 26, and the Lord said, if there should be in Sodom 50 righteous in the city, I will spare the whole city and the whole place for their sakes. And Abraham answered and said, now I have begun to speak, my Lord, and I am earth and ashes. But if 50 righteous should be diminished to 45, wilt thou destroy the whole city because of the 5 wanting? And he said, I will not destroy it if I should find there 45. And he continued to speak to him still, and said, but if there should be found 40, but if there be found there 40, and he said, I will not destroy it for 40's sake. And he said, will there be anything against me, Lord? if I shall speak? But if there be, listen to this dude Abraham, man. He's just too much, man. But if there should be, excuse me. Whoa. There we go. He said, will there be anything against me, Lord, if I shall speak? But if there be there found 30, and he said, I will not destroy it for 30's sake. And he said, since I am able to speak to the Lord, all right, listen, and Bram's trying the water right now. He's over there. You know how like a little kid does some shit, excuse my language, but they do something that they're not supposed to do, right? And they're like, I'm getting away with this? Really? So I'm going for the big one, Listen. But he's seeing that do you see how he told him what he was not going to do? Like, you're not going to, no. You can't destroy the righteous with the wicked. No. And the Lord is just listening to it. He's entertaining all of it. He's like, this guy's hilarious. He's like, does this guy hear himself right now? He's like, he does remember saving these guys and having to pretty much gird up his loins against this dude, Melchizedek. Right? Right. King of Salem. Speaking on whatever he believed is the Most High. Some character named El Elyon, but we're not going to get into that right now. I'm not going to get Schofield reference Bible carried away. We're just going to keep it here. Review for this part coming soon as we knock out a couple more chapters. But check this out. Do you see the level of comfort that Abraham has achieved? Just like, okay, he's like, whoa, this dude could, listen, he could kill me right now. Mind you, Abraham made it clear to the Lord, like, yo, I know I'm just earth and ashes. Listen to that. So he's like, I know what you could do to me, but I'm speaking for these people who can't speak for themselves. Thank you very much. Now let's go ahead and do this. "31. And he said, since I am able to speak to the Lord, what if there should be found there 25? And he said, I will not destroy it if I should find there 25. And he said, Will there be anything against me, Lord, if I speak yet once? But if there should be found there 10. Listen to what he just did. I love this guy. Once. He's been speaking this whole time, right? One more time. All right? 10. And he said, I will not destroy it for the 10's sake. And the Lord departed when he left off speaking to Abraham. And Abraham departed to his place. And the two angels came to Sodom at the evening. Listen. Stop right there. I don't think y'all understand how many people was in Sodom and Gomorrah. 10 people sounds like a lot, but it's not. Right on? We're talking about righteous people. Righteous. Now watch this right here. We're going to read this whole instance. Can't leave it off. I got to give you guys something to go with on the weekend. And the two angels came to Sodom at the evening. At evening. Come on now. See how funny that is? All of a sudden, they're angels now, right? But once again, an otherworldly being explained this happening to a man, so he could explain it to other people. Thank you. Tell the devil just to get behind me. Verse 33. And the Lord departed when he left off speaking to Abraham. And Abraham returned to his place. And the two angels came to Sodom at evening. And Lot sat by the gate of Sodom. And Lot, having seen them, rose up to meet them. And he worshipped his face to the ground and said, Lo, my lords, turn aside to the house of your servant, and rest from your journey, and wash your feet. And having risen early in the morning, ye shall depart on your journey. And they said, Nay, but we will lodge in the street. No, we gonna kick it, bruh. Right here on the block. We gonna post up on the block, homie. We're good. Right. Understand. I'm making it real regular for you so that way you really get what kind of business they were on. They were looking for trouble. Thank you very much. And somehow Lot knew that they were angels. Come on. And they said, Nay, but we will lodge in the street. And he constrained them. And they and they turned aside to him. And they entered into his house. And he made a feast for them, and baked unleavened cakes for them. And they did eat. And before they went to sleep, the men of the city, the Sodomites, compassed the house, both young and old, all the people together. And they called out Lot, and said to him, Where are the men that went into thee this night? Bring them out to us, that we may be with them. And Lot went out to them to the porch, and shut the door after him, and said to them, By no means, brethren, do not act villainously. But I have 2 daughters who have not known a man. I will bring them out to you, and do ye use them as it may please you. Only do not injure these men, so to avoid which they came under the shelter of my roof. And they said to him, stand back there. Thou camest 1 second. And they said to him, stand back there. Thou camest in to sojourn. Was it also to judge? Stop right there. See, you know how everybody also wants to be like, oh, they wanted to rape those men. They wanted to rape those men. Did you hear what they fucking just said? Excuse my language. Are you here to judge? Right. Why nobody ever stresses that part? Don't understand. Never understood it. Still won't get it. Even if they try to pick it up now and run with it. They make no sense. They understood that they were about to be judged. And I bet you the aura, the spectra, the power level that these guys were emitting was so powerful that they knew. They knew. And they understood that Lot was a Hebrew. Lot's not a Canaanite. Thank you very much. So he has different customs than they do. Had Lot not done that, Lot messed around and got killed with the city. Going forward. Now, we're going to read this part right here again. Because this is crazy. Verse 5, it says, and they called out Lot and said to him, where are the men that went into thee this night? In and to are separated words, right? Now, one could argue some crazy nonsense, but we know that they meant that into his house. Right? So now let's verify and clarify and dignify what these guys said to him actually. Bring them out to us that we may be with them. That's not that didn't say that we may know them. Only in the King James Version does it say that. And the word know in this word, in this scripture, in the Septuagint, means to have sex. When they said to be with, they wanted to talk to they wanted, listen, he's talking about, I'll bring out my daughters. Listen, that's not, they're like, dude, that's not what we're here for, bruh. Why do you think they were like, stand back, player? That's not what we're talking about. Now let's pick up about the question with the judgment again. And they said, stand back there. Thou comest in to sojourn. Was it also to judge? Now then, we would harm thee more than them. And they pressed hard on the man, even Lot. And they drew nigh to break the door. And the men stretched forth their hands and drew Lot into the house, and drew Lot into the house, and shut the door of the house. And they smote the men that were at the door of the house with blindness, both small and great. And they were wearied with seeking the door. And the men said to Lot, Hast thou here son-in-laws, or sons, or daughters? Or if thou hast any other friend in the city, bring them out of this place, for we are going to destroy this place. For their cry has been raised up before the Lord, and the Lord has sent us to destroy it. And Lot went out and spoke to his sons-in-law, who had married his daughters. And he said, Rise up and depart out of this place, for the Lord is about to destroy the city. But he seemed to be speaking absurdly before his sons-in-law. When it was morning, the angels hastened Lot, saying, Arise, and take thy wife and thy 2 daughters, whom thou hast, and go forth, lest thou also be destroyed with the iniquities of the city. And they were troubled, and the angels laid hold of his hands, and the hand of his wife, and the hand of his 2 daughters. And the Lord spared him, in that the Lord spared him, in that the Lord spared him. Never said that Lot was righteous. And it came to pass when they brought them out, that they said, Save thine own life by all means. Did you hear that? Save thine own life by all means. Get down if you had to. Look not around to that which is behind, nor stay in all the country round about. Escape to the mountain, lest perhaps thou be overtaken together with them. And Lot said to them, I pray, Lord, since thy servant has found mercy before thee, and thou hast magnified thy righteousness, and what doest towards me, that my soul may live. But I shall not be able to escape to the mountains, lest perhaps the calamity overtake me, and I die. Behold, the city is near me for to escape thither, which is a small one, and there shall I be preserved. Is it not little? And my soul shall live because of thee? And he said to him, Behold, I have had respect to thee also about this thing, that I should not overthrow the city which thou hast spoken. Hasten therefore to escape thither, for I shall not be able to do anything until thou art come thither. Therefore he called the name of that city Segor. The sun was risen up upon the earth when Lot entered into Segor. And the Lord rained on Sodom and Gomorrah brimstone and fire from the Lord out of heaven. And he overthrew these cities, and all the country round about, and all that dwelt in the cities, and the plants springing out of the ground. And his wife looked back, and she became a pillar of salt. And Abram rose up early to go to the place which he had stood before the Lord. And he looked towards Sodom and Gomorrah, and towards the surrounding country, and saw, and behold, a flame went up from the earth, as the smoke of a furnace. And it came to pass that when God destroyed all of the cities of the region round about, God remembered Abraham. Excuse me. Excuse me. God remembered Abraham, and sent Lot out of the midst of the overthrow, when the Lord overthrew those cities in which Lot dwelt. And Lot went up out of Segor, and dwelt in the mountain. There we go. We're done with that. We're not about to read about the abomination of Ammon and Moab, or Moab, whatever their names are. Had to get done with Sodom and Gomorrah. Had to break this down right here at the end. Note several things. It says fire and brimstone came down from the heaven. Okay. So it wasn't exactly what they say it was. They tried to make it seem like it was a massive explosion. No, it was like fire and brimstone, dog. Holy smokes. That's burning everything up. It would look like And what would turn his wife into a pillar of salt? The Most High God only really knows. I couldn't really think. The only thing I could think is that she stopped, right? And got mesmerized and couldn't make it, and then got hit up, and I bet you everybody else was looking like pillars of salt when they got hit with fire and brimstone coming from heaven too. But that's neither here nor there. Did it say she got hit with the fire and brimstone? No, but you can imagine that she did. Right. And when it says that she looked back, listen, that might be like an innuendo for turning back and trying to go back. Right on? Come on. Like, I don't want to leave. Okay, don't. She's out of there. Notice, his sons-in-laws, they're out of there. They're dead. They're dead and gone. You ain't even got to imagine what happened to them. Pillars of salt, whatever, they're done. Note that the Lord bargained with Lot, not for the sake of Lot, but for the sake of Abraham. When he said that all nations in the earth shall be blessed through him, he meant that. I say this last little tiddly-wink and then I'm out. There has to be recognition for the fact that the Lord may have appeared. No. To them, the Lord, the Messiah, wasn't even available. He called both the angels Lord. See how deep this is? Anyway. Man, anyway. Spiritual Gumbo. Oh.